Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to my podcast. Today I have Mr. Jeremy Crow. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thanks for
Jeremy,
having.
if you guys don't know who Jeremy is, you got to take a look at his channel. But he's going to briefly uh, tell my viewers who you are, and uh, we're gonna talk to you guys about something that we're both gonna be part of, and yeah, I'm gonna let him talk about it more because he can do that way better than I can. So yeah, just introduce yourself, Jeremy, and we'll go forward from there.
Sure.
Mhm.
So, thanks again for having me on. So, I've been involved with the occult community for quite a while. I've joined a bunch of different esoteric orders, including a couple different versions of co-Freemasonry, um, the Golden Dawn, OTO. Um, I've even been the head of some of them myself, including the Ordo Luciferi, the Greater Church of Lucifer, which ended up becoming the Assembly of Light Bearers. And one of the things that I wanted to do is try and get members of the left hand path community in particular collaborating with each other more. So, one of the things that I did is I founded something called the Luciferian Research Society. And that was an online kind of social networking site, you could say, that anybody across sectarian lines could join who was interested in left hand path occultism.
Mhm.
And it didn't matter if you were, Setian or Luciferian or any of that. Um, you could go on there and find other people who were talking about similar things, and you could share knowledge and all of that. And that's been running for quite a while, and it's really cool. You're a member of it.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I wanted to do several years back in 2012, I decided I wanted to take the spirit of the Luciferian Research Society and move it into the meat space, like the in real life space. And so I did the first International Left Hand Path convention in Toronto, Ontario, in 2012, the summer of 2012, and it was awesome. It was really cool, and there was an art show that was part of it that went on for a couple weeks, and that part of it was insane. And the amount of enthusiasm that came out of that, and the amount of inspiration that people left with uh, after having experienced that was was just incredible, and I wanted to keep that energy going. So we've done more than one of these conferences. I've had other people assist me with producing them in other cities.
Mhm.
uh, and now what we're going to be doing is we're going to take that same thing and take it to another level, even beyond. So what instead of having, one large event that happens, once every year or two, um, what I want to do is have a bunch of smaller events that happen more often. So the most recent one that happened was at the beginning of the year, back in January. And it was virtual. It was completely virtual. And what we did was, because the expenses to produce it were so small, I just made it free. I didn't charge anything for it, didn't have any ticket sales or fundraisers or any of that. It was
Mhm.
just completely free. And it was something that was kind of given to the community. And all the people that participated gave of their time to be part of that. And actually, we ended up getting enough donations that each of the speakers actually did get a little something, which was really cool. But that showed me that even in this COVID lockdown, travel restricted age, we can still get together and we can still do that cross pollination, and we can still collaborate with one another across sectarian lines and strengthen the left hand path as a whole.
Mhm.
And so, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting a Toronto campus of Flambeau Noir. And now, Flambeau Noir is the name that I've been using to produce these conferences for the last three of them. At first they had more generic name, International Left-Hand Path Conference or something, right? But I branded it Flambeau Noir. And now that word, or that term, I should say, is French for black torch. Now, the black torch carries the black flame, right? And what do you do with the torch? You illuminate things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you illuminate with the black torch, and you also pass the torch, right?
Yeah.
So you share that knowledge and you pass it to the next person, who then runs with it and does something else with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole concept that I wanted to have with this. And so you approached me and you said, "Hey, let's get something going." And
Yes,
I
I
said,
did.
"I got just the idea, right?" It was something that had been brewing, and you contacted me right at the perfect time. And I said, "Yeah, actually, I've been, developing this concept for this for a little while, and let's do it."
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're going to do is have local campuses of Flambeau Noir. Instead of, like I said, instead of a big event that happens maybe once every year or two, um, we can have them organized on a more local level
Mm-hmm.
and feature speakers from the local community. Of course, you're free to have guest speakers from outside of your local area, but the focus will be on the local community.
Mm-hmm.
And it won't necessarily be the big names that you always hear at the conferences as well. Like, you wouldn't necessarily be somebody who is an author or who has their own YouTube channel. Of course, big names like that you of course would have heard of will talks here and there, but that's not the focus that I want this to have. I want this to be the voice of the community,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
I love it. And like, if you guys don't know, I am from Toronto, and I'll tell you how it went. A couple of years ago, I did search out for Luciferians, and I found you from something before. I forget what it was. And I was like, oh, he's doing talks in Toronto. Like, where is this? But then it closed down and I couldn't find you and all this other stuff. And then I do have a vision, or I have something that where I want to go, and it doesn't have to be people that only work with certain spirits. It's Toronto is such a vibrant city, and we have a lot of witches in Toronto. We have the witch gathering. I forget what it's called, but it's been going on for the last couple of years, where they do a witch march and they have all these activities. There's a lot of people that are very open-minded to spirituality, but they don't know where to go. All you have is Christian churches and stuff like that. There's no place for anybody. And even having little advertisements in the subway systems down there, where people could be like, oh, well, what's this? Oh, okay, this is somewhere where I can go. Because for me, I know when I was starting off, I had no clue where to look. I didn't know what to do. I don't know where to look. It was that seeking and seeking. But I think this would be awesome for us to do. And I think there's a lot of people in this day and age and in this time that needs something like a campus, like something where people can come and share the knowledge and pass the torch. Yeah, I'm excited, and I think it's going to do well. I do. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a really cool concept. And when the Greater Church of Lucifer was active in Toronto, that was a
That's
very similar model that we were using. Is essentially you would have two people from the community who
mhm,
would be assigned to prepare a talk, and they would each, spend time and do their research and make their notes and everything, and then they would give a talk, a public talk, presentation, to the local people there, and usually we would record it. And there's a lot of them on my YouTube channel. If you go back and look up Greater Church of Lucifer meetings, and usually it was roughly around 35-minute talk that they would just talk about their subject for about 35 minutes. And then we would have about 15, 20 minutes or so question and answer or group discussion afterwards, about what they said. And then we would move on to the second talk, and then it would be the exact same thing. And then we would wrap it up, and usually we'd end up going to a pub afterwards and having like a few drinks and some snacks, and have a less formal, interaction. Uh, Now I want to have in-person local meetings for the campus as well.
Mhm.
Uh, the flexibility of the virtual meetings is really exciting too. So we'll be able to do a lot of them, and even when we can't meet in person.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the beauty of technology. Like people can get together in Zoom meetings, and we can have other types of meetings, within that month, and then that 1 month we all get together. But you can still be connected through meetings and media and stuff like that. That's It's so awesome.
So then we'll
Yeah.
have campuses all over the world too. So then we'll have people who are sharing knowledge from their traditions, and their experience from all walks of life. And I think that's really exciting. And the other thing too is that over time, there'll be a central channel. So these will be, I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but I'm excited.
Great.
Um, so each of these meetings would be streamed on some local uh, organizers channel or something like that. So the Toronto ones could be on your channel sometimes, on my channel sometimes. Other people in the Toronto campus, which extends beyond Toronto as well. It's basically all of Ontario.
Mhm.
Uh, some of those people have channels that we can do the meetings on as well. But then what we'll do is we'll take that archive video, and then we'll also mirror it on the Flambeau Noir Academy channel. So they'll
Mhm.
all feed into that same one, and you'll have these meetings that are talks presented by members of the community from all over the world, just constantly being fed into this centralized hub that is able to be a platform.
Mhm.
A lot of these people don't have their own platform. Like I said, some of them will have a channel like you and I,
Mhm.
but a lot of these people don't have a YouTube channel beyond just, what they use to surf with, or they don't have their own platform. So this is a way for them to have a platform that is international, not just not just a local platform or a national, but it actually gets their voice out there to the international community. And it's not necessarily something that those people aren't necessarily seeking fame or accolades or anything like that, but their voice gets heard. Some people may be wanting to try and get some attention for their projects or for their channel or whatever, and that's really cool too. And we can help people who are trying to come up in the community and become a personality,
Mhm.
but that's not necessarily the point for everybody's talk. A lot of the people just want to share their lived experience. They may not even be particularly uh, knowledgeable in any particular area. They may be beginners,
Mhm.
but they have lived experience in applying these principles in their life, and they can share with us what they've experienced, and um, we can
So,
share, we can learn from that, and we can understand. Maybe they can tell us, maybe one talk that might be very common among people who are beginners might be how they came to the path. I
mhm.
always find those stories fascinating.
Mhm.
So it would be great to find out, like, all these different people, how they came to the path as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that want to share their stories. There's a
Hmm.
lot. I think this is going to be great, and you're right. They don't have time to put in to start up a channel, because having a channel, you got to put in a lot of videos and you got to put in a lot of time. But
Yeah.
they on, and they want to speak their truth, and they want to share their experience, because it's all connection, and we're connecting, and we're experiencing, and we're learning from each other, and we can compare similarities and grow. And the ignorance, it's probably not going to go anywhere to but people will learn more, to be more not so afraid of the things that's happened to them, and that they're not alone. That I think that's the biggest thing, is like a lot of people have these crazy experiences and they're like, what am I? What's going on? What is this? When there is a community, and I know our community has its nasty side to it, but honestly, if I didn't have this community, I wouldn't have the community. So you got to take the bad with the good, because out of community you find really awesome people, and you find the people that are really, really working on themselves, and wanting that connection and wanting to grow. You're gonna get idiots everywhere, but
Mhm.
community is really important, especially for the youth. These young people, like my daughter is 15, and I have all of these little 15-year-old girls already knowing who Lucifer is and wanting to know more, and they're like so excited to learn. So like we have young youth that need us to so they can go somewhere.
Well, that's the other thing about this project, is that it will create an ever-growing repository of esoteric knowledge, that is accessible to the public. It's bringing the light, it's passing that torch, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And another thing about a torch is that a lit torch can light other torches, right? You don't even have to necessarily hand them the torch. You can light their torch with yours.
That would be a cool thing to do once a year, having a torch lighting festival.
That would be very
I
cool.
aim in it. Mm-hmm.
Black flame in it.
Yeah, because you can buy some stuff to change the color of the flame, right? And we can
Yeah,
pass it down to the members, or like, yeah, oh yeah, that's gonna be cool.
that would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do some
People
cool
are
stuff.
like, are they walking with black flame? I want to know what these people are about.
Yeah. And the bridges that it builds and the networks that it creates, it's almost like it can be plugged into any existing community as well.
Yeah.
So, for example, I know in Atlanta, Georgia, there's a pre-existing esoteric community there that I've approached, and they're actively looking for a building to have a permanent physical structure, that they're going to have their esoteric activities in, and they're going to have a Flambeau Noir campus there in Atlanta, Georgia, as part of that. And so it's something that can just be plugged into an existing community. It's like another layer, almost like it could be like an internet of the left-hand path, almost in a sense, right? This information sharing web that connects the different schools of thought, and even individuals who don't subscribe to a specific, defined school. They just think of themselves as left-hand path occultists or something similar or something compatible. Not everybody uses that term left-hand path, and I prefer complete path, usually when I talk about things, although it means the same thing as left-hand path in my mind when I'm using it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like right-hand path generally tends to focus on works of light,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't do as much exploration of the darkness, and even a lot of the people shun the darkness completely. I think there's a right way to do the right hand path, and that includes like the dark night of the soul and confronting that whole process. But that's what they're doing. But they're usually focused on the light, the works of light, and shunning the darkness completely. Whereas on the left hand path, we accept the light and the dark, and we try and work with both sides. That's my
Yeah,
interpretation
yeah,
anyways.
integrate it. We become balanced with that, and we don't run from it, and we confront it, and we become it, and we learn what it really is. Because yeah.
Some people have these stereotypes of the dark magician, that where they don't have compassion for, anyone. They don't have people that they love, and they don't find babies cute, or anything like that. They kick a puppy if they see it. That's completely like unbalanced stereotype of the dark side, right? You know, it's that we explore the dark. It's that we're not shutting it out. We're exploring that darkness, and we're working with it, and understanding it and integrating it, right? In a healthy way. It's not this, horror movie, stereotype, of course, but I'm talking to the audience that sometimes you see this thing. And I feel like that term left-hand path kind of implies that it's the complete opposite of the right-hand path in terms of, like, you have the saint and the sinner, right? And this person who's completely pure versus this completely debauched, individual. And I think it's unrealistic, and that's part of the reason that I don't
When we're like
sometimes. But anyways,
yeah,
I feel like the complete path is a term that I like a lot, but
that is
I also still use the term left-hand path because it's so convenient, because that's what everybody else is using to refer to that same thing that I'm referring to.
the complete path, but that's that. I like
feel
that
like
too.
left-hand path is the complete path.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But you're right. There's what word am I looking for here?
Well, when you have people saying the left-hand path and the right-hand path, but you have people saying, "Oh, I use both hands." Yeah, well, so do I. I just because I say left-hand path doesn't mean I don't use my right hand, right? It just means that I'm also using my left hand, that I didn't ignore my left hand, right?
A lot of people would want to know. They would want to, but because of the people that they're learning from are afraid of that, and they put this fear in them, like you said, and it's like just fear. But most people that I've ever talked to who are on the right path, once I start telling them a little bit more about it, they seem to want to know more. It's like, I want to know more. Okay, it's not that bad. It's like, no, it's not Hollywood, people.
Yeah. Well, I started out on the right-hand path, uh, Golden Dawn, that's right-hand path, but there are things that I experienced within those traditions that eventually led me to have an epiphany, where I connected on a very deep, intense level with that word Lucifer. And I was like, that's it. That's what I've been looking for this entire time. And it ties everything I've been, everything together, and I still consider myself a Luciferian to this day. That is the key word, Lucifer, that unlocked everything for me.
Yeah, me too. A lot of us, it is Lucifer that's brought that light. A lot of people that I know, their first true connection with Lucifer, and just that the word Lucifer is like, to me, when I heard, I was like, that is. I think I heard from Cinderella. Her cat. She named her cat Lucifer. The evil stepmother. The cat's name was Lucifer, and I was like, and he was like this evil cat. You probably never watched Cinderella, but
It's a while, but
her cat name was Lucifer. I was like, that is the most beautiful name ever. But yeah, what an awesome thing that's happening here, guys. Like, this is gonna be great. I'm in Toronto. Jeremy's in Toronto. We're gonna be doing some big things. We're gonna be working hard this year. And how many campuses do we have now?
Let me think. Well, we got one in Italy.
Ooh,
One in Atlanta, Georgia. I think there might be
we got
I'm talking to people in Texas, and I think we might even have two in Texas.
Okay.
By the time we figure it all out. But yeah, there's a bunch of different people that are interested, and those are ones that are really solid right now, the ones that I mentioned. But there's other people that have talked to me about it, and they want more information, and they say, yeah, sounds like something we'd be interested in doing here. And there's other individuals that are just, they don't have a network or people like already, but they say, this is something that I want in my area, and that's something that I can help people build up a community in their local area. It's something that I've got some experience doing. Well, when we were doing the Greater Church of Lucifer in Toronto, it's too bad that you didn't catch that. It
No,
was cool, and at times we were getting up to 35 people attending meetings every time.
that's awesome.
So that's pretty good. That was like we were getting much higher attendance than the OTO in Toronto was getting. It was the
And
biggest, uh, I would say, darker side occult thing. It was the biggest darker side occult thing in Toronto, or anywhere nearby, anywhere in Ontario,
Mhm.
or probably in Canada.
I
I
have
know
to.
35 people doesn't sound like a lot, but
Oh,
when you
that's
go around and you see these gatherings, the dark left-hand path type stuff, you don't
yeah.
get as many people. And it's like there's this idea of independence on the left-hand path that is very profound and intense. And some people take that to mean that they don't want to involve themselves with any kind of group work at all. So you have that faction of
Mhm.
people that just will never participate in anything that's related to group work or community or any of that. They're just the lone practitioner, and they don't do it. So there are people that are doing this, but you don't always see them at the events.
Oh, trust me. If they're walking by and they see a piece, if they see some kind of advertising of Lucifer, they're gonna be curious. I mean, they're gonna be like, "What?" Because there's, I think it's gonna be awesome. Yeah. Uh, and I have to say, guys, uh, Jeremy, when saw you doing your public speaking and just the way that you flow, like you're really, really good at public speaking and talking and answering questions. I really enjoyed watching some of your lectures, actually. So, yeah, you're really good. You're really, really good.
Yeah, I've had a lot of practice, but I wasn't as good at the beginning. Part of it was some of the first esoteric talks that I gave to a crowd of people was in Masonic Lodge,
Mhm.
like in a co-Masonic lodge where I would write up these esoteric, they called them pieces of architecture.
Hmm.
And you would take something from one of the rituals, like say the first degree initiation or something, and you would pick something, one of the symbols out of it, and you would try and contemplate it and decipher it, and then you give a talk about it in lodge.
Wow.
And so I really put a lot of effort into trying to do good with those, and I liked it. And so I kept doing more public speaking and took opportunities and did the YouTube thing, and you get better at it with experience. But I wasn't good at it at the beginning necessarily.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to give hope to people because I don't want people to think, oh yeah, Jeremy, he's a good public speaker. It's nothing for him. I used to be so shy. It's insane, how shy I was when I was growing up, and I took a drama class to try and break myself out of it, and it helped. And then, it's just work. It's just putting in the work. So I kind of think one of the things that I think would be cool about this is it's almost got that kind of Toastmasters element to it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
People an opportunity to challenge themselves to prepare a talk and present it. You
Mhm.
know, public speaking is scary for a lot of people. They say it's number one fear, even above death. People fear public speaking more than they fear death. You know,
You
this is a
know,
way we can challenge ourselves and we can grow through. Not all the talks that are presented in Flambeau Noir Academy, local campuses are going to be good.
yeah.
you know, they'll all be good in the sense that that individual put in effort and then they challenged themselves and then they actually produced that talk. They manifested something, and that's amazing, right? But from like an objective or a subjective perhaps perspective, maybe it won't be as polished or whatever. Maybe it'll be people that nitpick things about it, but this is a growth process, right? And we're giving our members of the community an opportunity to grow and challenge themselves. So there's a multi-pronged reasons for this. One of them is the light bearer aspect, sharing the knowledge with the public and making it available to those who seek it out. The other is building bridges across sectarian lines to strengthen the left-hand path community, get people collaborating with each other, cross-pollinating, sharing ideas. And the third thing is giving opportunities to members of our community to challenge themselves and grow through presenting a talk.
Yeah. And it's funny because I started doing my channel because I wanted to challenge myself, because I was having problems pronouncing my words and speaking. I just had some my whole life I had problems. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna push myself to watch myself speak on camera and then upload it on YouTube and see what people think. And then it just got better and better, and I got more comfortable, and I started growing, and I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm doing what I thought I could never do. And
Glad you did.
yeah, yeah. And I've watched my videos over and over and over and over again so I can see where I need to get better and what and I advise people to do that. Like, you should record yourself sometimes just to see how you speak if you want to like learn. I don't know. It worked really well for me. So I think this is a great opportunity, because there are people that are shy, but they really want to do this, and they have so much they want to talk about. They just don't know how. And then you have people like us. We'll support you guys, and we're gonna push you out there, and you got us, and you'll never
Yeah.
be like, you know, yeah.
Well, I used to like I keep referring back to the GCOL because that was when, I kind of really experimented and toned that model of the two talks with the bit of a question and answer period after. And it was really fun trying to like get some of the people specifically like be like, oh, when are you gonna give your talk? And they're like, what, me? I'm like, yeah, of course you. What do you mean you? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Come on, well, when are you going to give your talk, and what are you going to give a talk on? And that was a fun aspect of it, getting people who never thought that they would ever give a talk to try and convince
Just
them, hey,
confidence.
give it a go.
Yeah. Okay.
And they surprise themselves a lot of the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be great, and um, I look forward to this. And I'm sure lots of people are going to look forward to goes. See
Yeah.
where it
Well,
goes.
what's your vision for the Toronto campus in particular, as the first director of the Toronto campus?
My vision.
If
Yeah,
you're the director of the Toronto campus,
I am the director, guys. Yes, yes.
I'd
Yeah.
like to hear about your vision for the Toronto campus.
It's basically kind of the same ideas as you. I want to have to be honest with you, I would like to have weekly meetings if it ever gets to that point where there is a safe place where people can come and we can share and we can have talks, and we can have guidance from people who know more from of things, and just meeting people from all different types of paths that are just open-minded and are looking somewhere to grow and to learn. And even have like once a month festival, like once a month have like a live. I know some great Luciferian artists. We can artists have like, just like you had that art thing. I would like to get some musicians come down. I know some great Luciferian musicians. Just bringing all of the culture together with learning and passing. And I don't know where it can go, but that's what I would like to see, because I would love to have a place where I could hang out with people who are like minded. That's really what I want. I want to learn, I want to be around people who are like me and supporting, and that's it, really. And
Absolutely. I love that. And it's like once the kind of the public lecture series is established, that forms a platform or foundation that other things can be launched from, right? Like what you said, you could have a place where people are communicating and giving each other guidance. And especially they can have a time where they're all going to try and be there at the same time, especially. Um, and we can have musical events and art shows and all that stuff.
why not? Why can't we? You know, exactly. I
No,
think
we do it at the large events. Why can't we do smaller versions of that? You know, we don't have to get so elaborate every time. It doesn't have to be this grand thing every time. We can do these small, fun community events uh, organized on a local level, and they don't have to go through this like red tape of bureaucracy. You know, people will have autonomy in what they want to do. You know, it's not like this big hierarchical thing. it's it's actually from the ground up.
Mhm.
It's people on the local level getting together and saying, hey, let's do something, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I'm super excited, and I'm glad that you
yeah,
approached me about it.
yeah.
And I'm excited to see what the Toronto campus is going to do,
Mhm.
and all the cool things we already have uh, over 80 people that are interested, that have
Oh,
signed up on the Facebook group for the Toronto campus alone,
okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah, we do. There's lots of people. That's a lot because people want this. People need something. You know, they're looking for something. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up for now. My
Yeah.
phone died. So that's it. I wanted you guys to know firsthand from Mr. Jeremy Crow and me what we're about, what we're doing, and you know, you can find him on his channel. Is it you have two channels?
No, just or I mean, I've got a couple like little tiny minuscule
Okay.
channels, but it's all basically Jeremy on the Jeremy Crow channel.
Yeah,
And
Jeremy Crow. Check
if
out
you go,
his convention last year. He has a bunch of people. I watched a lot of them with uh, a lot of great talks on there. How many people? How many talks? How many speakers did you have?
uh,
There was like 10,
it was like 10 or 11 or something
10 or
like that.
11. Yeah.
Ended up
And
with
you did
like
that all in one day?
14, I think over the course of about like the 3 days,
3 days.
we
Okay.
had over 14 or 15 hours of content uploaded in
Yeah.
just that long weekend.
That was the weekend. Mm-hmm.
It was like a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we had talks from Michael Ford, from Maggie Moon,
Yeah.
Zach Black, a whole bunch of cool talks that we.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can check that out on my channel, Jeremy Crow. If you look up Jeremy Crow Occult, almost for sure you're gonna find my channel.
All right. All right.
Luciferian, Jeremy Crow Luciferian.
Yeah. The complete path. All right, Jeremy. You have a good night and we'll talk soon. And yeah, that was great.
Sounds good.
Okay. Bye.
Have a good night. Bye.